Imagine, you are in bed, night after night, but instead of passion, there is cold indifference. Your husband touches you less and less often. More and more often he turns his back to the wall. In the head, anxious thoughts: what happened? Fatigue? Problems at work? Or another woman? It's scary when someone who was supposed to be close becomes distant. But more importantly, how do you fix it, and do you need to?
Thank you for watching my channel. I create videos for your enjoyment. Please subscribe if you want to support my efforts. It's very important to me. I apologize in advance for any mistakes. Dubbing is done by neural network. Please point out mistakes in the comments so I can correct them.
When your husband has lost his desire for sex, it can seem like a personal disaster. It's important to realize that the first feeling most women have is pain and disappointment. Can feel like a blow to self-esteem. Am I not attractive? Is the question that first comes to mind. But before you fall into despair, you need to realize loss of sexual desire can be caused by many factors, and it's not always because of you. Desire problems are often related to a man's psychological, physical, or emotional state. Many couples face this at different stages of a relationship. It is important not to blame yourself or him, but to try to look at the situation objectively. Loss of sexual desire in men can be due to various reasons: stress at work or in personal life, fatigue, illness, low self-esteem, conflicts in relationships. All this can have an impact. Age-related changes should not be excluded either. However, one of the most common causes is monotony in relationships. If sex life has become predictable and routine, it can reduce desire in both partners. When you realize that your husband's sex drive has faded, it's important not to keep quiet about it. One of the key steps to dealing with the problem is to have an open and honest conversation. Many women are afraid to bring up such a topic for fear that it will cause conflict or make the situation worse. But silence hurts the relationship more than any conversation. The main thing is to choose the right moment and tone. Start by expressing your feelings, but without accusations. Instead of, "You don't want me anymore," try saying, "I feel like our intimacy has changed lately, and I'd like to understand how you feel." It is important to create an atmosphere where your husband feels that you are not blaming him, but want to work through the problem together. The impact of stress and fatigue. One of the most common causes of loss of interest in sex is stress. Men often experience pressures at work, financial difficulties, or internal worries that they don't talk about. Stress can literally turn off desire. If your husband comes home exhausted and irritable, it's likely that he will have a hard time switching to a romantic mood. In this case, the best solution may be to help him reduce his stress. Support and understanding can play a key role. It may be worth considering small changes in daily life to create a relaxing atmosphere at home. It is important to remember that desire cannot arise in an environment of constant tension. Routine relationships. One of the most obvious but often overlooked reasons for loss of interest in sex is routine. When a relationship lasts for years, sex life can become predictable and monotonous. Men, like women, need novelty and variety to keep things interesting. If all your intimate encounters follow the same script, this could be the reason why he has lost desire. The important thing here is not only to experiment in the bedroom but also outside of it. Organize unexpected dates, change the environment, try something new together. Getting the spark back requires effort from both partners. It's important to find ways to keep each other interested on all levels: emotional, intellectual, and physical. Emotional connection. Sexual desire is directly related to emotional intimacy. If your husband feels that you are estranged from each other, it can greatly affect his desire. It is important to not only talk about problems, but also try to get closer emotionally. Spend more time together, give each other attention, and be attentive to his needs and wants. Sometimes rebuilding an emotional connection can take time and patience. It may be worth starting with the little things like asking questions about his day, taking an interest in his feelings and thoughts. It's important that your husband feels that you understand and support him, not just looking for ways to get intimacy back. Psychological issues. Loss of desire can also be related to internal psychological problems. Depression, anxiety disorders, or insecurity can seriously affect male sexuality. Men are not always ready to talk openly about their emotional difficulties, which makes it difficult to solve the problem. If you suspect that the cause lies in your husband's psychological state, it may be worth suggesting that he see a professional. Psychotherapy can help not only to identify the root of the problem, but also to find ways to overcome it. It is important not to put pressure on your husband, but to offer help and support during this difficult period. Physiological problems. Men can lose sexual desire due to health problems. Hormonal changes, heart disease, diabetes, or medication side effects can all affect his libido. If your husband complains of fatigue or other symptoms, the problem may lie in his health. In this case, the best solution is to consult a doctor. Modern medicine is able to offer many solutions, from lifestyle adjustments to drug therapy. The main thing is not to postpone a visit to a specialist and start solving the problem in a timely manner. Self-esteem and social pressure. Do not underestimate the impact of social environment and societal expectations on male self-esteem. If your husband faces feelings of failure at work or feels pressured by society's expectations, it may reflect on his desire in a relationship. Men often hide their experiences because they are accustomed to being strong and beyond emotion, which can lead to internal conflict. Your husband may feel that he doesn't meet some standards, and this lowers his self-confidence, affecting his sex drive. Be supportive and let him know that he is valuable to you no matter what the circumstances. Your understanding can help him deal with the internal pressure. Impact of age-related changes. As men age, they may experience a natural decline in sexual desire. This is due to decreased testosterone levels, declining general health, or chronic illnesses. A decrease in libido at a certain age is a normal process, and it doesn't have to be perceived as a relationship crisis. However, it is important to realize that age-related changes are not a verdict for intimate life. For many couples, such changes become a reason to talk openly and find new ways to express intimacy. If physical passion is fading, it doesn't mean that the relationship is doomed. On the contrary, it can be a time for rethinking to strengthen the emotional and spiritual connection. The key is to support each other, be attentive to changes, and if necessary, seek professional help to find ways to maintain libido. The role of self-development and personal interests. Sometimes a husband's loss of interest in his sex life can be due to the fact that he has lost motivation and interest in life in general. If a person does not develop, does not find joy in new activities or hobbies, his general condition can negatively affect intimate life. In parallel with trying to solve the sexual problem, it is important to pay attention to other areas of your husband's life. Encourage him to self-development, support his interests, even if they do not always coincide with yours. Maybe he has long dreamed of playing sports, enrolling in a course, or returning to a hobby. Personal development and satisfaction with life can also have a positive impact on his desire to return to intimacy. Fears and uncertainty about the future. Men may lose sexual desire if they feel uncertain about the future of the relationship. Perhaps your husband is worried about your family, finances, or career, and these thoughts are distracting him from the intimate side of your life. If this is the case, it's important to understand how he feels and discuss his fears. A frank conversation about the future and shared plans and goals can help remove these barriers. Try to identify together what changes you can make in your life to increase your sense of stability and confidence. This may involve finances, household issues, or professional plans. When a man feels confident about the future and sees promise in the relationship, it can bring back his desire to be closer to you. Work on physical fitness. Physical fitness plays an important role in sexual desire. If your husband has lost desire, it could be because he feels uncomfortable in his body, or is worried about gaining weight or deteriorating physical shape. Often men are embarrassed to discuss these issues, especially if they are used to seeing themselves in one body and that body changes over time. Try suggesting exercise together. Physical activity not only improves physical fitness, but also promotes the production of joy hormones, which can have a beneficial effect on his mood and, consequently, on sexual desire. Sports can become a joint hobby that will help you feel closer to each other again. If all your attempts to restore your husband's sexual desire are not working, it may be worth considering a medical examination. Loss of libido can be a symptom of a variety of health problems, from hormonal disorders to cardiovascular disease. At times, men are not ready to see a doctor on their own because they are embarrassed or afraid to admit that something is wrong. Support him in this step. Help him understand that taking care of health is not a weakness, but a manifestation of responsibility. Perhaps the problem is solvable with medication or a certain course of treatment, and your patience and support will help him overcome his fears of doctors. If the loss of desire is related to underlying emotional issues or relationship difficulties, professional help can be very effective. Sexual therapy or counseling with a marriage and family therapist can help you both understand the causes of the problem and suggest specific ways to address it. A sexual therapist can help identify causes that may not be obvious in everyday life. Sometimes we ourselves do not realize how repressed emotions, resentments, or unresolved conflicts affect our intimate life. Counseling can help you build a dialogue that will be the first step to restoring intimacy. How to avoid pressure. When a woman notices that her husband has lost interest in sex, there is a natural desire to fix it as soon as possible. However, it is important to remember that pressure can only make the problem worse. Frequent reproaches, reminders, or attempts to force him to intimacy can cause a man's reaction. He will begin to avoid intimacy even more. The best way to bring back intimacy is patience and understanding. Give him time, show concern, but don't pressure him. When a man feels supported rather than demanded, he will begin to gradually return to intimacy. It is important to remember that each case is unique, and for someone the solution will come quickly, and someone will need more time. How to maintain emotional balance. For a woman, this situation can be a source of stress and anxiety. It is important to be able to maintain emotional balance so as not to lose confidence in yourself and not to overburden your husband with additional worries. Above all, you need to remember that these are temporary difficulties that can be overcome. Find ways to maintain your self-esteem. Take up something that brings you joy and pleasure: sports, hobbies, meetings with girlfriends, or vacations. The more balanced and confident you are, the more likely your husband will see you not only as a life partner, but as an attractive woman he will want to return to. The role of shared leisure time. Often sexual problems are due to the fact that a couple spends too little time together, or that time is filled with routine and domesticity. Shared leisure activities can be a great way to bring back emotional and physical intimacy. Find new hobbies that will be of interest to both of you. It can be something active: walks, sports, travel, or something more relaxed: joint culinary experiments or evening movie nights. The main thing is for you to feel the joy of time spent together again. When the relationship begins to be filled with new emotions and impressions, it positively affects the sexual side of life. It is important to remember that any problems in a relationship can be solved if both partners are willing to do so. Loss of sexual desire is not the end, but only one of the stages that can be the beginning of a new level of intimacy. Your husband may not immediately realize the importance of the situation, but your patience, understanding, and willingness to work on the relationship will help you overcome this crisis. Finally, don't forget that every person is unique, and what works for one couple may not work for another. Try different ways, look for compromises, and over time you will find something that will help you bring passion and desire back into your relationship. During difficult times when your relationship with your husband is struggling, it can be helpful to seek support from friends or significant others. Of course, you should be careful about who you share personal problems with. Ideally, these will be people you trust and who have the experience or knowledge to help you. Sometimes an outsider's perspective can help you see the situation differently and offer out-of-the-box solutions. However, be careful. Not all friends or relatives can offer helpful advice. It is important that they are people who really wish you well and are ready to support your choice. On the other hand, excessive dependence on other people's opinions can only exacerbate the problem. It is important that you and your husband make an independent decision, not based on the expectations of others. The art of flirting. In a relationship that lasts for a long time, flirting often goes by the wayside. However, flirting is a powerful tool that can put the spark back into a relationship. If your husband has lost his sex drive, try remembering those moments when you first started dating. How you laughed at each other's jokes, how gently you touched, how you looked at each other. Bringing lightness and playfulness back into your relationship can help reignite the passion. Try sending him an unexpected cute or slightly cheeky text message during the day. Have a romantic dinner or a surprise date. These small signs of attention can help your husband see you again as the woman who won him over and bring back the desire for intimacy. Routine can be a real enemy in a relationship. Daily responsibilities, work tasks, taking care of the kids or household chores can all overshadow the intimate side of life. If you notice that your marriage is mired in routine, try to add something new and different to it. You don't have to start with global changes. Try changing small things. Making breakfast together, taking a new walk, trying something new in the bedroom, or just spending an evening without phones or TV talking to each other. When every day becomes a routine, even small changes can bring newness and excitement back into your relationship. The role of a husband's self-esteem. A man can lose sexual desire if he is facing internal issues related to self-esteem. Feeling inadequate, not meeting expectations, or stress at work can negatively affect his intimate life. In such a case, it is important to support him morally by showing him that you appreciate him for who he is. Sometimes even a simple recognition of his achievements or a compliment can boost his self-esteem. Try to make time for positive communication that will help your husband feel needed and important. When a man is confident and feels supported by his wife, his desire can gradually return. The importance of trust. When intimacy is an issue in a relationship, it is important to maintain trust in each other. Mistrust, jealousy, or suspicion can only increase tension and make the situation worse. Even if you find it difficult to understand why your husband has lost desire, don't rush to conclusions and accuse him of cheating or lack of feelings. Conversations based on trust will help you both to understand the problem. Try to listen to each other without interrupting or imposing your conclusions. The more you trust each other, the easier it will be to overcome temporary difficulties. Joint solution to the problem. If your husband has lost his sex drive, it is important to realize that this is a problem that needs to be solved together. It is not just his task or your personal responsibility. Working together, finding compromises, and being willing to work on the relationship will help you restore balance in your intimate life. Sometimes it takes longer for men to recognize a problem and decide on a solution. Try to be patient and give him time and space to sort out his feelings and desires. It is important not only to show concern for him, but also to be willing to make changes yourself if necessary. In some cases, the problem of loss of sexual desire may be due to outdated attitudes in the relationship. If your husband has lost desire, it may be that your expectations or rules that were set previously no longer fit your current state. Try reevaluating certain aspects of your marriage. It may be worth establishing new rules that will help you both feel more free and relaxed. These rules may apply not only to your sex life, but also to other aspects, sharing responsibilities, personal time, or common goals. One of the most important parts of a successful relationship is sincerity. If you feel that the problem with loss of sexual desire is becoming more significant, it is important to talk about it openly. Avoid accusations or recriminations, but be sincere about your feelings and desires. Try to start the conversation with positive things, what you like about your relationship, what you are grateful to your husband for, and then move on to what is bothering you. This approach will help avoid tension and conflict, and your husband will be more willing to discuss the problem. The role of intimacy. Sometimes the reason for the loss of sexual desire is not because of the relationship, but because of the atmosphere that surrounds you. Perhaps your bedroom is humdrum and feels more like a work office or a child's room than a place for intimate encounters. Sometimes small changes in your environment can make all the difference in bringing back sexual desire. Try to transform your bedroom into a place where both partners can relax and distract themselves from outside worries. It may be worth updating the interior, adding candles, soft lights, or music to help create a romantic atmosphere. Creating a cozy, safe space for intimacy will help you both relax and get in the right mood. Sometimes the atmosphere plays as much of a role as your emotional state. Flexibility and willingness to change. Every relationship is unique, and solutions that will help one couple may not work for another. Be flexible and open to finding new ways to solve a problem. You may have to try a few different approaches to find what works for both of you. The key is to remain open to change and willing to work on the relationship together. If all the attempts you have made are not working, it may be worthwhile to see a professional, a marriage and family therapist or sexologist. Professional help may be the key step that will help you both understand what is going on and find a way out of the situation. When your husband loses his desire for sex, it may cause you to feel insecure, anxious, or resentful. However, it's important to remember that intimate problems are just one aspect of a relationship and can be overcome. Being open, Honest and working together will help you get through this difficult period and strengthen your relationship. In the end, it is important to not only maintain physical intimacy, but to build an even deeper emotional connection.